In this video I'm going to explain a little more about general drawing tools. When you start a command, the contextual ribbon, which is these along here, and the options bar, which is what shows up underneath here, and the properties palette enable you to set up features for each new element you are placing in the project. As you start modelling, several features called drawing aids display. These will help you create designs quickly and accurately. So if we use this as an example, we'll click on duct, just cancel that, and as we place, you can see that we have a dimension, an angle, and as you can see, now that I've stopped moving, we've got the horizontal show up next to where our cursor is. These are the drawing aids. Also, if you notice, the contextual tab, contextual part of the ribbon has changed. We're in the modify section now because we're in a command. Just as a hint, rather than just moving your cursor along until you see the dimension for the length that you want to do, you can actually just start entering the figures in and press enter, and it'll take you to that length. Now that we've escaped out of all of those, everything goes back to its normal default settings. If we click on the item, you can see that the contextual tab changes and the properties ready for you to amend what you need to do. Other features that show up in here as well is if we draw another piece of duct this way, and remember, if you press on shift, you can lock the item into its either left or right or up and down axes. So I've currently got shift on here at the moment, but I'm moving the cursor left and right, and nothing's changing on the angle. If I release shift, I've got an angle that I can use. If you notice, there's a little blue line above the cursor where I've got here, and then when I line it up with the other duct here, we've now got, see this alignment tool? That's another drawing aid to help you identify nearby items. The alignment line displays as soon as you move the cursor over the nearby elements. They help keep lines horizontal, vertical, or at specified angles. They also line up with implied intersections of walls and other surfaces. These dimensions and the angles that you see, they're only temporary. If we want to make the dimension permanent, if we click on the item here and we can see the dimension there, we just click on this little symbol and you can see that the dimensions left in place. The temporary dimensions display to help place elements at the correct length, angle or location. If we look at some of the snap options, such as when we go here, you can see that we're getting a little circle, like a magenta shape colour circle. This is to indicate that we've got a snap point here where we can continue on or move across. Also, as you're noticing, as we're moving, the likes of ductwork, pipework, electric and conduits, etc., also have added features on the ends of these items, these snaps. They are what's called connectors, and this is what gives, in this instance, in this ductwork, this is what gives the the system uses and connects up the relevant angles and bends, the fittings relevant for the type of work that we're doing. If we're using placing a ductwork, just like what we've done here, if we use this tag on placement, when we put this in like this, hang on, let's try that again. Ductwork, tag on placement. You can see that it automatically gives the tag of the size of the duct that we used. So when we're placing duct, as I mentioned earlier on, we can control what we're putting in by changing the properties here, and also in the options bar where we can set up the length, width, height, and also the height of from the ground where we want to use this. So if we wanted to change this to a different height, 2300, and we want to change the height to 350, and we put this in place, you can't see it any different, but if we were to use a section view and look at it in this angle and just change this over to fine mode, you can see that there's our 350 by 300 at 2300, whereas the other ones were at 2750. $27.50, 2300, 350 by 300. The snaps that you see, you can adjust these by going over to Manage and clicking on the Snaps button here. And here, again, anything like this in brackets is the keyboard shortcut, or you can look at which snaps you want to snap to and snap off.